Hey everybody, Chrissy Tobis here. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time being here, and welcome back if you're returning. This is part of Catherine Pooler's Hello Sunshine release video hop, so I am going to show you really quick how I made that little card at the beginning. So the first thing that I decided to do was stamp a couple of these cute little ice cream scoops from the the 3 scoops stamp set. So I stamped in a couple different colors. I wanted to kind of basically give it a little bit of definition. So I stamped it once in Party Dress, and then I came back in Flirty Fuchsia and just kind of went around the edges, and then I restamped in Party Dress, and then came back in Flirty Fuchsia a couple times. So just to make it a little bit more exciting, a little more interesting, instead of just a solid pink ice cream scoop. And then I came in and I did the exact same thing again, using All That Jazz and Daydream. So again, around the edges, I kind of went with the darker one and then just, re-stamped to kind of like blend it. So I'm also going to show you after I do this another way of blending that you're probably a little more familiar with. But for this purpose, I really like doing this because when I have a Misty or any other type of stamping tool that you can stamp it like 500 times and your image never moves, it's awesome because then you can kind of experiment and play around and add a bunch of inks and make your stamped images, even the flat ones, look a little bit more three-dimensional. So that is what I did here. So I also stamped that cute little cone off camera. I used the Sandcastle ink. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. This is the coordinating die. It's also called 3 scoops. And then I also die cut it in just plain white. So I did all 3. So now I mentioned this is another way to add dimension. This is probably one you're a little more familiar with. The only difference is, so when you're doing it this way, I used icing on the cake. It's a little bit darker than Sandcastle. Some of those white areas from the stamp, they get filled in because you're inking over it. And then I wasn't 100% happy with the way that one blended. I don't know, I just didn't do it right. So to make it just a little bit softer, I went in with the Flirty Fuchsia, again, using an ink blending tool, and then I just blended it a little bit more. So it kind of didn't dry the way that I thought it would. It kind of just went from light pink to dark pink, and it wasn't really like a gradient the way that I wanted. So I just added a little bit of limoncello around the edges just to give that a little bit of definition. I didn't want that stark white. So I die cut that little square. There is a paper pack that comes with this. It's some summertime patterned paper, and so I die cut out of that. And I used this Sprinkles mini cover plate. There's a little set there's a mini cover plate, and then there's a cute little die that goes with it. This is the die. It's a little stitch die. And then I wanted to make the ice cream look like I had a bite out of it. So just using a pencil, I just kind of traced it on there, and then I just cut it out real easy with my scissors. So I'm just going and I'm just stacking, deciding how I'm going to have those little scoops assembled. And so I'm just going to go ahead and stick it on my card. No foam, no dimension on this image or anything. I wanted everything to just be kind of flat. I really wanted to make sure that the blended images, that ink really kind of shines. If you can see, I think that pink one really pops out. I think it's so much fun. So I just assembled it on there. And then I took another piece from the Some Summertime pattern paper pack and added it onto just a standard white panel. So that panel is 4 by 5 1/4. And then my little trick is, so everything is flush. I usually, when I'm going to have something kind of going off the edge, I'll let it overhang a little bit when I glue it on there, and then I trim it with scissors after the fact. So then I don't have to worry about lining it perfectly, that if I have a little white around the corners or anything like that. So it just seems to work out really well for me. So then that little die cut there, then I use some 3D foam to pop it up a little bit. And then I decided that, and I probably should have done this first, but it didn't really matter, that was just a little bit too stark white. So I went back in and I added that same yellow limoncello color that I used on the ice cream scoop, and I put that on that card panel just to soften it up a little bit. So now I'm assembling the card. I also did stamp a sentiment from the Ice Cream You Scream off camera in the midnight black color. Down in that little corner. And then the last thing I decided to do was there is this adorable Charleston sequin mix. I think this is one of my favorite sequin mixes of all time. There's cute little stars in there. All the colors are some of my favorite colors. They all coordinate with the pattern paper that's in there. And so I put a few sequins on there, but then for the sprinkles, I decided to use some of those, the star sequins as sprinkles, because I thought that was so much fun. And they're so shiny and glimmery and beautiful. So this is the finished card. Now make sure to hop along. There's going to be giveaways, and have a great day. Thanks so much for stopping by.